So why squat every day? It's a question I got in my comments yesterday and one I get frequently. And it's a good question and worth asking. I think the first part, the most obvious part, is that it's about showing up every day. It's about putting something in. Making some small movement and some small effort towards your goal. Big or small, doesn't matter because it's every day. It goes somewhere different for me, adjacent but different. I'm leaning into joyfulness and away from joylessness. You know, I'm 45 years old. I've had my fill of joylessness. I've had my fill of pain and struggle, mostly self-inflicted, by the way. I'm not trying to play the victim card here. Yeah, maybe that's just it. Maybe that's it, you know? It makes me happy. And it's something that I look forward to every day. I have a short workout today. I don't have a lot of time. It was a struggle to get out of bed. Yesterday, I literally couldn't stay in bed. I was so excited to get down in the garage and do those goofball lifts. I couldn't stay in bed. And having something in your life, in my life, like that is beautiful, you know? Even today, where I'm kind of rushed, it's kind of cold. There's a host of irritants barking at the door. I'm still happy to be doing this. I'm still excited, you know? And I think life heaps enough hurt on us without us having to add some, you know? I don't need any practice with enduring suffering. I've had plenty, you know? I don't do this as some masochistic driver. I do it because I love it. Because I'm alone. I'm talking to you guys. And I'm just getting my head organized and my body organized for the day ahead. So that's why I do it. Individual results may vary. And I'm happy to receive your questions, comments, concerns, and scathing criticisms. Today's a high rep day. I've been avoiding my high reps because I don't like them, you know? And I might have to change that plan, but also I know I need my nutrition and my medicine. And I've been skimping on the high rep work for a year. A full year. I don't think I've done much over 5 reps for a year. So putting a little volume, even though it's not my favorite, does feel like it's practical. So today, I got to do a rush job. No pseudo-philosophical rants today, other than what you just heard. And yeah, stay tuned. So immediately after lecturing you all on the benefits of joyfulness over joylessness, I got under this bar. I did my Kang squats. I worked up to 150 and it felt good. And I got a little bit of a wild hair across my ass. And I did 5 sets of 10 in the squats. It wasn't really heavy, but it was more than I could handle. I think I got up to just 115. And yeah, I had a really bad time. And it was completely joyless. And I want to be clear about this because it's important. Rep 1 of set 1, I had a bad time. The preceding 49 reps, it didn't get better at no point. So what's my thesis, right? Like, what kind of point am I trying to make? Like, right after I preach what I preached, I went and violated it. Like, how does that make sense? Well, I think relationships are complicated. I think the simplest relationship that you've ever had in your life was pretty complicated, you know? Maybe even very complicated because it felt so simple, you know? And our relationship with ourselves can be no different. Generally speaking, I trust myself. And I have good reason to trust myself because the things I say I'm going to do to myself, I almost always do. Very few exceptions. In fact, I can't think of a single one right now, which kind of feels good, in a vain sort of way. I think if you're a risk-averse person, this probably feels like a no-brainer. You probably just trust yourself implicitly. And I'm not knocking that. That's great. And on the other hand, if you have a large appetite for risk, I would imagine you distrust yourself, that there's a corollary there to a degree, because you've burned yourself before, right? I suspect most of us fall somewhere in the middle of those 2 points, and I certainly do, and today, that kind of left shoulder shadow part of me got it in his head that he was going to hurt me, that I was sore from the Sigmund Klein press yesterday, which, by the way, I love that lift. And so my body was, my shadow was like, hey man, no excuses, no days off, squat every day, get after it. And we did. And I didn't violate my trust, but I came close. I'm gonna pay for it tomorrow for sure, and the day after. Yeah, relationships are complicated. What else? What for it? Part of the point of yoga, and that's another thing. I've been practicing yoga every day, and I've been doing breath work, pranayama every day. I've been doing Wim Hof, which I'll talk about in the next yoga video. I think Wim Hof is the best introductory to pranayama that anyone can do. It's easy to learn, it's easy to execute, and the difficulty advances as you advance. But the point of the yoga practice, because certainly it's somewhat counterintuitive for heavy weightlifting. Oh, I'm gonna run out of time. Little add-on. So certainly if you want to be a great weightlifter, having a serious yoga practice is not the best strategy. I don't believe yoga will hurt your weightlifting, but it can be pretty time expensive, and I don't think it'll help. Not really. Mobility routine, a stretch routine, sure. A yoga routine, I don't know. Maybe that's a debate worth having, but I don't want to have it right now. So, the point of a yoga practice, in my mind, is to improve the communication between yourself and your body, and we could argue whether or not there's any real separation between mind and body. That's not exactly what I'm talking about. I think that most of the day, communication goes one way. We tell the body what to do, the body does it. When we work out, it tends to go the other way. The body tells us what it can do, and we do our best to comply. In yoga, an asana practice, traffic's going both ways on the street at the same time, and we're doing our best to encourage that as much as possible. You have a harmonious interchange between, instead of mind, why don't we say will? Our will and our body's ability to execute. And to kind of contradict myself a little bit, I do think that's good for weightlifting. That communication, cultivating that environment of psychological health. I couldn't think of a smart word, so I'm going to say that. That's at least why I love yoga, It's open chains of communication between my will and my body's ability to execute. And that, as you improve at that, it cascades in wild and exciting and unexpected ways. I'd report on you what those are, but they vary enormously from person to person. So what's true for me almost assuredly won't be true for you. Anyway, I'm ranting again. I said no pseudo-philosophical rants today, and here I go. This is Joe in real life. I love you guys. Be good to each other today, okay? It's a little chilly out in my cul-de-sac. I'm going to get back in the garage. I'll see you tomorrow.